Morning. I did want to go out in my camera today, but the weather is just terrible. It's just grey and dull, and it's even started raining now. And normally that doesn't stop me, but I just couldn't get motivated into it today. I just thought, what's the point? I'm going to come away with some grey flat shots, and I hadn't really got anywhere in mind to go anyway. And I'm just itching to get out with this new lens that I've actually got on my camera at the moment. I've got the Sigma 24-70 Art, which I haven't really used. I took a few photos over Christmas of the family, but I don't really like doing portrait work. It doesn't interest me. So I thought, what else can I do instead? So what I've done is I've decided to pick out some of my favourite shots that I took this year. Now, I didn't take them on my new camera, obviously, because I've only just had my new camera. So I'm going to jump into Lightroom, and I've picked a handful of photos that are kind of my favourites, or among my favourites. They didn't necessarily get the most likes on Instagram or anything like that, but they're kind of just photos that stick out for me for one way or another. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into Lightroom, zip through the photos, give you a little bit of information on each photo, and yeah, that's it really. Just show you my photos, my favourites of the year, until I can think of something else to do a video on. So yeah, let's jump into Lightroom. This is my the first image I've chose. It's a church in Curdworth, I think, under the Curdworth or Wishaw. I can't remember which one it comes under, and I can't remember the name of it. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link to the video I did when I took this photo, either up there or down there somewhere, if you want to see that video and a bit more about that photo. So this photo, it's a church that's kind of, it looks kind of derelict and like nobody used it, but it is actually still in use. And I just like the kind of emptiness of the graveyard, if you know what I mean, in such a way that it's kind of overgrown and looks a bit spooky and that. Now, I have edited this photo to be a bit more dramatic than what it actually was. I've darkened the sky a bit, brought up the clarity on the actual building and the texture, but as I said, I like it. It feels like a bit of a moody dark shot. There are a few little imperfections on my editing. This is what I did actually edit this at the start of the year, and I have improved a lot with my editing. So it's not perfect, but I don't want to kind of go over it and really trying to do it again. And I don't think I haven't saved the raw file for it, so it is what it is. I will probably go and visit this church again and take another couple of shots of it. But yeah, I don't know, something about it. I just like this photo. I'll just show you just click on that and just take it to the full screen of that shot. Yeah, not really much more to say about that one. Moving on to my second one. Now this one, I can't say this is my complete idea. I did see another guy on Instagram do something very similar to this. I repositioned the hands in a different way to how he had them, but I did kind of like the way he put the eye over the hand. So I kind of had a go at it myself. I don't really do much portrait photography, nor take photos of myself much, but I did kind of use myself in the background of this. And again, I really boosted the clarity and the texture to kind of give it a bit of a grimy kind of feel. Obviously a lot of editing went into placing the eye over the top of the hand, but it's fairly easy in Photoshop. Yeah, another one. I like this photo. I like the kind of shade of the eye. I think it just makes it pop a bit, and the way my face is actually in the background, kind of blending into the dark. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a brilliant photo, but I think it kind of keeps you looking at the image for a bit longer than you would with your average photo. So yeah, another one that I kind of like. I don't do many of these kind of composition shots, and I do want to kind of start, but it's just kind of thinking of an idea what to do. That's the big screen of it again, but like I said, I will put a bit more information underneath or at the end of the video on the photos as much as I can. The third one, this was my first visit to the Peak District. Peak District is about, I think it starts about an hour and 45 minutes away from me. It might be a bit closer than that, but it's not. It's around that kind of time. This is actually MAM Tour. I think it comes out of Castleton, and you know, you've got Oak Valley and all that. And this is kind of at the top of MAM Tour. Now, this shot is really popular. I mean, you look on Instagram and you'll find loads of photographers have took this shot. Now, the day we went, it was kind of mixed weather. It kind of started off dry, then the sun come through, and then I think towards the end of the day, just before we was going home, it actually started snowing. So it was a bit of a mixed bag of weather. Again, I took this photo when I wasn't brilliant at getting my levels right. My ISO, I was overexposing or underexposing most of the time. So when I was coming to edit the photos, I was having to do a lot more work to bring the shadows up or whatever. But I think since then I've moved on a little bit, and I kind of know what I'm doing a bit more now, I think. So yeah, another visit to this place, actually, Chrome Mill, is on the cards in the next week or two with my brother. We want to try and go early in the morning for some kind of either sunrise shot or like a cloud inversion or the mist. Over on the right hand side is like a big valley. I think it's like Hope. I think it's called Hope Valley, and the mist kind of hovers up there over the valley and that, and it does look kind of amazing. So that's the kind of plan over the next week or two, to go back to MAM Tour and take some more shots. Moving on to the fourth one. Again, this is at the same day, same location. This is actually Winnett's Pass. It's kind of like a road that goes between the two. It's like a gorge, really, of the two hills each side, and the road heading into, I think it's Castleton or Hope Valley. And I just like this photo. I just like the texture on the grass, and the way the sun's kind of casting shadows on it. Like I said, it's not an amazing photo, but it's just I don't know, it's just something about the texture on the grass that I really like. And obviously we got a little guy here to kind of give you a bit of sense of how big it all actually is. I don't know if you can actually see him. If I zoom in a bit, you can see him on there. So yeah, I took quite a lot of shots of this kind of looking at the hills and the rock formations. This is probably my favourite, but I do just, like I said, I love the texture on this one. Moving on, again, another photo taken on the same day, and as I said earlier, you can see like now it's kind of greying over, and this was actually taken probably minutes before the last photo. And the reason I like this photo is I like the contrast of this guy here. He's not with me. He was just standing in the right place at the right time, kind of looking back down towards the road. And this is kind of like the start of the road that leads through to Winnett's Pass. And I just like like I said, I like the contrast. And that's about it really on this photo. But it just, I don't know, something about it just stands out to me. And I don't know, I just like it. So yeah, that's that photo. Another photo of the Peak District. I haven't done many trips there this year. I've only done about 3 or 4, and I plan to do a lot more this year. This is actually at Chrome Hill, the Dragon's Back. Now I can't think if this is actually, I think this is Parkhouse Hill. And again, another photo I like just because of the kind of texture in the grass and the way the getting a bit of light on the trees. And yeah, it's kind of drawing me to it because of that. All I've kind of done with this image is kind of change the blues a bit in the sky because it was kind of flat, and put like a border on with a drop shadow in Photoshop. I don't do many of these kind of videos where I'm actually showing you on my computer what I do, editing and that, but if people want to see that, leave a message below and I'll start doing a few little kind of tutorials on how I do things. Again, I'm no expert at this, but I do know a little bit that I've kind of self-taught myself over the year or two I've been using Photoshop and Lightroom, and if somebody wants to know how I do it, I'm happy to do a little tutorial. And as I said, I'm no expert, and I might be doing it wrong, there might be better ways of doing it, but yeah, that's something if someone wants to see, just let me know. Moving on to the next one, this is just a sparrow which I took in my mum's garden. It's just a sparrow on a twig, but I actually love the way the sun is kind of hitting him from the left hand side, and the kind of texture in all the in the feathers and that. Another image that's not amazing, but it's just one that I really like. Moving on to number 8. Now, I went to Twycross Zoo this year, the first time I've been to the zoo with my camera, and I went with a guy that I've met in my village called Roger Hunt. Roger normally does bird photography, and he's really good at bird photography. He's become my kind of mentor because I initially like landscape photography, but being where I live, there's not a lot around, and I do have to kind of travel to somewhere like the Peak District to get anything kind of landscape, kind of good photos. So we went to the zoo, and we took photos of every animal, and I think I took over some 770 photos or something that day. It's the best day I've had with my camera, where I've come away with the most photos. Now, a lot of them did need some heavy editing on them, because heavy editing on them because of the glare on the glass, things like that, and cages and dirty glass. But I spent a good couple of weeks having loads of fun editing the photos, and I did come away with something like 35, 36 really good photos that I've kept that I really do like. So it was well worth the day out, and I'm looking forward to going back. Probably not to the same zoo, might go to a different zoo, but anyway, stop waffling on. This is a photo of a gibbon that was taken on top of a big pole with the sun coming from the left hand side. It was quite blown out and it needed a lot of work, and I did spend a lot of time editing this photo. I'm quite pleased with the results. I like the texture of the fur. I kind of softened it up a little bit, but out of all the gibbon shots that I took, and I did take a lot of this actual gibbon sitting on this pole, this is one of my favourites. I think it's probably because I spent the most time on it that I think it must be my favourite, but yeah, I do really like this photo. Moving on, again another photo taken at Twycross Zoo, one of an orangutan. Now, I did want quite a few images of the orangutans, but I struggled a little bit, to be honest. They didn't really seem to be doing much, and when I did see them, they kind of had their back turned to me. This particular image I like myself because it's got its arm out, and it kind of looks like he's taking a selfie. It would have been good if he was actually looking at the camera, but it actually kind of looks like he's holding the camera out to himself, taking a selfie. And yeah, I do like this photo. Moving on to the next one, again at Twycross Zoo. This is a photo of a chimp. I like the way the light is hitting the chimp from the top, and he's kind of looking up. It's like he's looking up, begging for something, the way he's got his arm kind of twisted. Now, his arm is slightly out of focus at the bottom, but it's kind of all about the face for me. And funny enough, this photo didn't get many likes on Instagram, but it's definitely one of my favourites, and I can't put my hand on it. I think it's just, like I said, the way the monkey's looking up. Now, like I said before, these images from Twycross Zoo, a lot of them wasn't sharp. They were quite noisy, in fact, and I did have my settings wrong most of the times on using my telephoto length. I kept forgetting to change the shutter speed, so I was shooting at a fast shutter speed when I didn't need to, and obviously because of that I increased a lot of noise. but I still came away with some good photos, and after spending a lot of time editing them, struggling with that word today, editing them, I kind of come out with a lot of images that I like and I've kept. Same location, same place, Twycross Zoo. One of the Pelicans, as you know. A lot of people have asked, how did I get this black background? Did I do it in the editing? And I did with most of it. And I wanted to kind of come away with the photos from the zoo as portraits. I didn't kind of really want any kind of background to distract you from the actual animal itself. So I did do a lot of the black background editing after, you know, and editing the shades and the kind of shadows onto the feathers to kind of make it blend in with the background. But the birds, I used spot metering, which again Roger showed me, and I did kind of sidetrack from what I was telling you about Roger. Roger does bird photography and he's really good at it. I will leave a link up or down somewhere for you to go and visit him on Instagram. He's really good, and every time I go out taking bird photos with Roger, he gives me so many tips, it's unbelievable. So yeah, he kind of introduced me to this spot metering, which kind of focuses the light on the subject and kind of darkens the background, which I did use for this, but in editing I kind of, you know, emphasised the fact that it was dark. I used that same method again with the pelicans, and that, funny enough, they were in the same pool as the flamingos. So I kind of used the same technique with the camera. Now I took a load of these pelicans. Must have about 15-20 of these images, and out of all the photos I took at Twycross Zoo, these are my favourite to edit. The texture in their feathers just was amazing, and they come out really like cartoon looking in one kind of way. It might be, you know, I might have edited them that way for that kind of look, but I just like the way they've turned out. And as I said, I took a load of photos this way of the pelicans, but I think this actual image was my favourite of the pelicans. Again, another shot of the orangutan. This one was with its baby, and its baby was giving it a hug. I just softened this one up a bit and added a bit more warm light to it. And again, it's just another one that I really like. I just wish with this actual photo I could have got the baby in a bit more, but there was kind of like a climbing frame on this side and I couldn't get round to it. So, but yeah, another image that I really, really like. I will leave a link to the Twycross Zoo photos, again, up or down somewhere if you want to look at that. And I've kind of put my favourite ones from the day on that video. Last one of the zoo, one of the gorillas. I did take quite a few of the gorillas, but this one was my actual favourite. It kind of looks to me like it's shy and he doesn't want a photo taken, but he's kind of laughing at himself having his photo took. Again, not the best in focus, but it's just a photo that kind of makes me laugh, and yeah, it's probably my favourite of the gorilla that I took. Moving on to somewhere else, I went with Roger, Calcaby. This is kind of like a big, like home, stately home kind of thing. In I'm trying to think where it is, and I can't remember. It's kind of Derby Way. Is it Derby Way, Leicester Way, something like that? Again, I'll leave a link. And it's got like a big deer park there, and there's birds and, you know, wildlife, trees, forest walks and things like that. And for the first year, I'd say, of having my camera, I wanted to get a photo of a deer, and there it's quite easy to get one. But out of all of them, I think this is my favourite. I changed it to black and white because I like the way the light's hitting him from the side, and he's kind of got a two-tone face. So yeah, one of a deer, and I like this one. It's actual stag, I think, but yeah, I like this one. And moving on, a blue tit. The reason I like this photo is I like the kind of texture in the feathers, and I also like the background. I didn't actually change the colour of the background, it is yellow, and I think it actually looks like a wallpaper that I've stuck on the photo, but it was real. I can't get my head around. I'm trying to think actually what was in the background to make it so yellow, but I don't know. Maybe yellow bushes in that. It might have been the time of year. But this photo kind of pops out for me. It makes him pop out, and I kind of like it. In fact, the bird doesn't even kind of look real the more you look at it, but it kind of looks like a stuffed bird, but it was real. And then moving on to my last photo, which is one of my recent ones. It was a kind of pano shot I took of a field in Sutton Coldfield, and it's just a strip of, I'm counting the trees, 6 trees, and the sunrise is kind of between the middle of them. I did take this. I have been here a few times before and took this photo, you know, of the sunrise, but this day I kind of got lucky with an amazing sky. It was the first time I went out with my brother with his camera, so I was kind of trying to give him a few tips and that. Not being an expert myself, but trying to give him a few tips on how to take these kind of shots, and I was really pleased with this. Now this is actually a pano, and it's made up of, I think, 12 photos. It was 4 shots across, and each one was bracketed each photo. Can't get my words out today. And yeah, so it's made up of 12 photos, and it's extremely sharp when you look at it on the computer, but I don't know what it'll be like when you play it back through, you know, whatever I'm going to make this video into. But it's extremely sharp, this photo is. And yeah, a pano, which I don't do many of, but I'm going to start doing more of them, that I'm quite pleased with. Well, yeah, that's it. So I think those are my favourites of the year. It was really hard to kind of get them down to that many photos. I did want to call this video my top 10, but I just couldn't decide, and I have got rid of a load of other photos that I thought that I really do like, but I just thought it's too many. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to do in this little short video. Really, is just kind of show you my favourites. So that was that. Just a quick run through. If there's any you like, please leave a comment in the description below, or anything, even if you just want to say hello, what camera you're using, anything like that. I do want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to all the new subscribers. Since having my new camera, the Sony a6400, I posted a very, very short video the first time I went out with it. I think it was last week, and it's had something like 1,700, 1,800 views in a week, which I'm quite amazed about, because it really wasn't a good video at all. But for all the new subscribers, I'd like to say thank you. Thanks for subscribing to my channel, and I hope to kind of keep you subscribed by going out virtually every week, either taking landscape photography or bird photography or wildlife photography, anything like that. The kind of plans I've got for the new year is I'm going to be going to the Peak District a few more times. Hopefully I'm going to be going there in the next week or two. So some landscape photography there, some sunrise shots, hopefully, fingers crossed, obviously depending on the weather. Another trip or two to the zoo this year, and generally just getting out more with the camera in regards to where I go, rather than kind of keeping it local and kind of struggling for the boring shots, some of the boring shots and locations that I've been getting. I plan to go somewhere different, somewhere further. I want to also do some beach photography. Is it beach photography? Well, you know, like at the beach, places like that on the coast. Get some cliffs, some waves, some shots like that. So that's also on the plan for this year. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed or liked, I'd appreciate if you want to, obviously, of course, a like or a subscribe, and it helps my channel grow. So until next time, until I can think of a better video and come up with something a bit more interesting, see you soon.